the voice you just heard in that report, our aviation correspondent, Bukola Jokintobi, joins us on the news tonight. Good to have you, Bukola.
Hello, Millicent.
So, aviation tourism industry, we're one of the hardest hit due to especially the total lockdown, the shutdown of the airspace, as you mentioned in that report, and not just in Nigeria, also around the world. But how would you describe what the airline operators went through with that in 2020 in Nigeria?
I would say that the airlines really suffered a lot of losses. Because first of all, when the pandemic happened, it came with a lot of the airlines telling staff to proceed on unpaid leave. So many of those staff did not have salary for about 4 months. That's simply because airlines are not flying, there's no revenue from passengers. And it's not just the airlines. Whatever happens to the airlines happens to the allied sector. So you talk of the airport suffered. You talk of catering suffered, fueling and all of that. Because basically, it's the airlines that give life to all of the other supporting structure around it. And if you, from my report, you'd hear IATA saying that on the global front, we lost $118 billion. In Nigeria, the minister at that time was quoted to have said that we're losing 20 billion naira per month. So if you look at 20 billion naira per month across 8 airlines, that would translate to about 160 billion naira for 4 months. That's really huge. And once that is eroded, what do you expect of the airlines? Now that they're even back, things are not the same.
So we're looking at perhaps old issues in the aviation sector exacerbated due to COVID-19 in 2020.
Basically, I would say that our airlines have always had their issues before now. That's simply because airlines say that airline operators say that airlines in Nigeria are overtaxed. There's landing fee, there's parking fee, there's just a lot of fees that you have to pay. And that when they get the ticket money in the first place, they have to share it with some of the agencies. For example, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority takes 5% out of that ticket revenue that you see. And so when airlines pass that on, they still have a lot of costs to battle with. And now coming back into COVID, it's not the easiest of times for them.
So looking at, a lot of people out of job, we understand that even with we're in 2021, there's also that risk of cutting costs for some of the airline, the operators. What do you see happening? What do you think?
That's simply because, because the pandemic is still persisting, passenger figures are still low. Of course, we saw a surge during the festivity period. But right now, if you go to the airport, who are those traveling? Basically government workers or businessmen who have something to do. And if you listen to my report, the president of the Aviation Roundtable said that business class seats are already gone. That basically all airlines should turn their aircraft into something like an economy aircraft, because that's where you're going to get the money at this time. And for job losses, I foresee some more still happening. Because if an airline is there and they're not making revenue, there's no need taking on the staff that you will not be able to pay.
All right. Bukola Jokintobi, our aviation correspondent. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Millicent.